Something happened today that you felt but didn't say out loud. The baby reached past you. Arms out, full body leaning forward, a sound somewhere between a squeal and a demand for the other parent. And you stood there and smiled like it was fine. It wasn't fully fine. And here is the part nobody tells you: that moment you just experienced. That wasn't preference. That wasn't love. That was your baby running one of the most sophisticated evaluation systems ever produced in the history of human evolution. And the result it just gave you means something completely different from what you think. Stay with me. Because what researchers discovered about this changes everything. Everyone assumes they know the answer. The baby prefers whoever feeds them. Whoever is home more. Whoever does the most. Simple logic: more contact equals stronger bond. It sounds obvious. It sounds airtight. That's where you're wrong. In 2013, researchers at the University of Haifa tracked 112 families across the first 18 months of life. Every feeding, every nighttime wake-up, every caregiving hour logged and measured. Then at 6, 9, and 12 months, they tested attachment preference using a standardized protocol called the Strange Situation Procedure. What they found dismantled the contact theory almost completely. Primary caregiving hours did not reliably predict which parent the baby preferred. In a significant portion of families, babies showed stronger attachment responses to the parent who spent less time with them. Less time. Stronger bond. The researchers had expected to confirm what everyone already believed. Instead, they had a result that made no intuitive sense at all. And that result sent the entire field looking in a completely different direction. So if it isn't time, what is it? In 2019, a research team at the Max Planck Institute for Human Cognitive and Brain Sciences published something that reframed the question entirely. They called it interactional contingency. Forget the term. The concept is this: the baby's brain is not measuring how often you are present. It is measuring something far more precise. It is measuring how often you notice. Picture two parents. Parent A is home 12 hours a day, but distracted, stressed, phone in hand, thoughts somewhere else, present in the room but absent in the way that matters. Parent B is home 4 hours, but every single one of those hours fully locked in, catching the cues, responding in the moment, actually there. The baby's brain runs those two experiences through completely different neural pathways. And here is where it gets strange. Babies as young as 8 weeks old can distinguish between a response that is connected to their own behavior and one that is not. Researchers tested this with a ribbon and a mobile. Infants were connected to a hanging mobile via a ribbon tied to their leg. When they kicked, the mobile moved. Most babies figured this out within minutes. They started kicking with deliberate, joyful, increasing purpose. Then researchers disconnected the ribbon. The mobile kept moving, but randomly now. No longer responding to the baby. The babies noticed. Not in words. In data. Heart rate changes. Reduced engagement. And eventually, withdrawal. Something that in an older subject you would call frustration. And then giving up. The researchers concluded that the infant brain comes pre-wired with a detection system for contingency. For cause and effect. For I did something and it was noticed. Every single interaction with a caregiver runs through that exact same system. When one parent consistently catches the quiet fuss before the cry, the shift in body language before the meltdown, the specific way the baby reaches when they want to be held versus when they just want to be near, that parent accumulates something researchers call felt security. Not love in the abstract. A neurologically encoded sense of, this person is tracking me. This person is safe. The baby reaching across the room for that parent is not making a sentimental choice. They are following the output of an evaluation they've been running since the first weeks of life. Now here is the part that nobody is prepared for. Between 6 and 9 months, most babies consolidate strongly around one parent. This is peak stranger anxiety. The infant brain is drawing a hard circle around what it has classified as known and retreating toward the center of that circle every time the world feels uncertain. Most people think this is when the preference gets locked in, when the hierarchy becomes permanent. You don't. Watch what happens when the so-called less preferred parent walks in during a moment of complete calm. No stress. No strangers. No disruption. The preference softens. Watch what happens when the baby is tired, sick, overstimulated. It hardens again. This is not a love hierarchy. This is a threat assessment system. The number one attachment figure is whoever the baby's nervous system has encoded as the most reliable signal that the threat level is low. That is not sentiment. That is survival architecture running inside a body that cannot yet sit up on its own. And here is the finding that completely reframed how researchers think about the parent who doesn't get the dramatic reaching arms. For decades, the assumption was that secondary attachment was simply weaker attachment. Less important. More replaceable. A consolation position in the bond hierarchy. A landmark longitudinal study published in the journal Child Development followed children from infancy through age 7. And what it found systematically destroyed that assumption. The quality of attachment to the secondary caregiver predicted specific outcomes that primary attachment did not. Willingness to explore unfamiliar situations. Resilience when the primary caregiver was unavailable. The capacity to form relationships with people outside the immediate family. Researchers called it the secure base extension. The primary attachment figure is home base. Safe. Known. The place the nervous system runs back to. The secondary attachment figure is what teaches the child that it is safe to leave home base at all. That strangers can become familiar. That new can become safe. That the world beyond the inner circle is navigable. The baby giving you the polite smile while losing their mind over the other parent is not ignoring you. They are practicing on you. Every interaction with you is teaching them something the primary attachment figure cannot, that the unknown does not have to be threatening. You are not the second choice. You are teaching the lesson that makes all other lessons possible. But now I need you to turn this inward for a moment. Because this isn't just about the baby in the room. You were that baby. Somewhere in your early months, before memory, before language, before any conscious understanding of the world, your brain was running this exact same evaluation. Logging micro-interactions. Building a map. Deciding who sees me. Who is safe. Who tracks me when I signal. And the conclusions your nervous system drew in those first months, researchers have found traces of them still running in adult attachment patterns. In who you reach for when you're overwhelmed. In whether you expect to be noticed or expect to be missed. In the specific anxiety that lives in your chest when you feel invisible to someone you love. That baby reaching past you, they are not doing something foreign. They are doing exactly what you once did. Exactly what every human who has ever lived has done. Building their internal map of safety one micro-interaction at a time. There is one signal worth watching. Because healthy preference has a signature. And when that signature is missing, it matters. Normal attachment preference is fluid during calm and intensified under stress. The baby who strongly prefers one parent should still eventually be soothed by the other. Should still engage during play. Should still show visible relief when the preferred parent returns after an absence. What concerns developmental pediatricians is different. A baby who cannot be consoled by either parent. A baby who shows the same flat response to caregivers and to strangers. A baby who does not track either parent's face with any particular attention at all. Researchers at the National Institute of Child Health and Human Development note these patterns can indicate disruptions in the attachment system, disruptions that have nothing to do with parenting. Quality and everything to do with how the baby's nervous system is processing social information. Early identification before 12 months changes what is possible in ways that waiting until toddlerhood cannot replicate. Trust your instincts on this. You are watching this child more closely than anyone else on earth. And the parents who notice that something feels off are almost always right that something is worth looking into. We live in a world that makes contingency harder than it has ever been. Not because parents love their children less. Because attention has never been more fragmented. The notification. The background anxiety. The mental load that follows you into the room even when your body arrives. The baby does not see your intentions. The baby does not register how much you love them in the abstract. The baby's brain is only measuring one thing. Did this person see me just now? That is the entire question. And the answer is being logged silently, continuously, with a precision that no conscious mind could replicate. So the next time a baby reaches past you for the other person in the room, remember what you are actually watching. A brain that has been running a continuous evaluation since before it could hold its own head up. A nervous system that has logged thousands of micro-interactions and used them to build one map. Who sees me most clearly? That is not rejection. That is not a verdict on your love. That is precision. The most honest signal any human being ever sends to another. And it started before either of you had words for it. If you have been the non-preferred parent and this reframed what that means, leave a comment. Because that experience is more common than anyone admits. And the people carrying that quiet sting deserve to know what the science actually says about who they are in that child's life. And if you want to understand why babies cry the exact moment one parent leaves the room, but are completely calm 2 minutes later, that is the next video. The neuroscience behind it is not what any parent expects. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it.